up our conversation from talking about, so we were talking about the sustainability element of
Mhm.
fast furniture and how difficult it is, for one thing, for people to understand that, you know, when you're buying something that's really cheap, it's in the long run is not a good investment, A, because it's not good stuff, but also B, because it's not good for the environment. And so long term, you're not helping out the next generation, as it were. So for people that maybe don't necessarily have the funds to be able to afford to buy like an older piece, especially the nicer pieces, or maybe they don't necessarily have the money to be able to get an upholstery. Are there some ideas that your organization is trying to recommend of some things that they could do to help out with that? Or
Oh, that's a hard question. We have not tackled that as of yet. And that's because we are still so brand new to the scene. Like there's so much to tackle. But yeah, I understand, like IKEA can be your best friend. It's good looking stuff, it's cheap. Sometimes you can get stuff that's going to last for a while. And, I think it's purchase what you can when you can, slowly try to introduce things into your home. If you are out, shopping at antique stores, try to find an antique piece that you can live with for a while before you can get it reupholstered. Like, don't buy something that's like just so hideous that you want to just, gouge your eyes out while you're waiting to, save up money to have it reupholstered. But yeah, there is a certain privilege. Those people who can reupholster, they have the money and the funds to do so, because it is not a cheap process at
Mhm.
all. There's this misconception that reupholstering something is cheaper than buying new, which it isn't. If you're looking to save money, it would behoove you to purchase brand new.
Mhm.
If you're looking into keeping something because it's beautiful, or you can't find something that's going to fit your space right, or it is grandma's chair, you're emotionally attached to it, you're going to spend so much money on it, and then you have to spend the money on the fabric. And it's an investment, and it's a privilege to be able to have something reupholstered.
Yeah, yeah, that makes and I know there's, at least for clothing, there's a lot of businesses like ThreadUp that have popped up all around to try to connect more people to sustainable options for clothing. Have you come across any businesses that are trying to do that for furniture?
um I haven't, but I'm going to put that in the back of my mind, though, as something to look into. I do know, just like in the past couple of days, there's a company in New York that will, I think they'll like recycle your old upholstery fabric or something like that. Like they recycle it, and that's a step in the right direction. But
Mhm.
they're only in New York, and it's only that specific thing. But yeah, I don't know. I would write it down on my phone right now, but I'm gonna think about that. So thank you.
No, that just kind of occurred to me too, because I mean, I love unique pieces if I didn't have to buy brand new. But there's like certain things, like for my living room, I needed a very specific dimension for furniture.
Hmm.
So but I tried to buy something that was nice, that I was fortunate that I can afford to do that.
Hmm.
But then at the same time, I also have my grandmother's original Dutch modern furniture from the 60s.
Ooh,
Yeah,
let me get my hands on
I
it.
well, I eventually I will need to have work done on it. But yeah, it's the pieces that like my aunt grew up playing on. My mom was grown up by the time my grandma got it, and my mom thinks it's the most hideous furniture ever, and I think it's beautiful. So,
Oh, that Dutch stuff is amazing. It's
uh,
amazing.
I know. It's just so different, and yeah. Anyways, I love it, and it's solid wood. Right,
Yeah,
that's a big thing
that
for me.
I can feel it now, because like I know what that wood feels like. I know what it feels like. So
Yeah. Um, so from like looking forward, do you see, doing upholstery for until you can't do it anymore? Or are there, other things that you are passionate about?
yeah, I think I I probably will, because I do like it so much. If I, like, let's say that, like, arthritis sets in, I just can't do it anymore, I would still do something that's, related to the upholstery field. Because, like, right now I'm on the board for the association. I would probably go back into that maybe to help, further the industry, because it's the trade to me is just so important. It's a beautiful trade. It's, there's so much handcrafting and tradition behind it. And it deserves to, like, to thrive, and people need to know about it and understand, its history and all of that good stuff. So yeah, I'll just stick right here in this industry,
Okay.
in this zone.
I think it's kind of an amazing feeling to finally feel like this is the place that I belong, and I just want to stay here forever. So
Yeah, it is weird because, what I do like is that if I can't do it, I can at least help with, like, the educational aspect of it with my marketing background, my PR background. I can try to, like, bring that back up again for maybe a change in pace. But yeah, I want to stick in this industry. This is where I'm going to be.
do you think
Knock on wood.
yeah. Do you think having that marketing PR background, was that do you think a big leg up for you starting a business?
Absolutely, absolutely. If it wasn't for a beautiful website when I first started, there's no way. There's no way I would have been able to get into this field, I don't think. Maybe I would probably have asked, like, a local upholstery shop if they needed an apprentice, but most likely they're going to say no, because it takes so much energy to take on an apprentice. And so yeah, I think that's really helped. And, like, being able to market my services and my PR and hone in kind of on what my brand is has helped a lot,
So
I
how,
think.
yeah, well, I mean, you have beautiful photos. I will
Thank you.
say that.
Thank you.
I guess, what would you say, because I mean, Knox Upholstery is you, right? Just
Mhm.
you alone, right?
Just me.
So is a lot of the brand that you, and the personality of the brand for Knox Upholstery, is it very much you personally, or are there a lot of certain things that you're cognizant to keep separate?
I think, like, my Instagram account, like, that is who I am. Because I don't have enough time to, like, separate out, like a brand person, versus, like, that's just, I can't do it. So yeah, my Instagram account, it's all basically furniture. My personal stuff is on a different, Instagram account, because I do like to keep them separate. I want people to know when they go to my, Knox Upholstery, that they know that I do furniture, that
Mhm.
I'm also not, like, doing weird plant stuff and, a dog's running crazy somewhere. So yeah, I try to keep them separate. But yeah, that brand is all about who I am.
Okay. So how would you describe that personality?
Oh, that's a tough one. Um, uh, I don't know. I don't know if I've ever actually, I don't know if I have it pinned down, because it is just me. I don't know. I don't know. I'm too close to it, I think, to answer that question.
That would be really interesting to hear from people who have worked with you, or at least follow you, because I know you have a fair amount of followers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would just, yeah, how they perceive what that personality is. That's always really
I
interesting.
I'm curious now, because people will say, oh, I like you, I like your personality, I want to work with you because of that, but I don't know what that actual thing is. Like, I don't know. Maybe it's my social awkwardness, like, I have no, like, oh, she's crazy just like I am. I have no idea what it is. So.
I mean, I would say, at least from what I've watched, I mean, it's definitely a sophistication.
Hmm.
There's a sophisticated element to it, and a basically almost like a perfectionist eye to the details of what you're doing.
I am a perfectionist. It's awful. It's awful. I try to get things out. I'm like, I'm the only person who sees that this one line is like an eighth of an inch off, but like I always feel like everyone's gonna see it. So yeah, I'm a total perfectionist.
Do you think so? That's one thing that we talked about in an event that Let Her Speak did in May, which was about the barriers that we put up, and imposter syndrome was a part of that. And so perfectionism is an element of imposter syndrome. So, would you say has that been one of the biggest barriers for you running a business? Is the perfection side of things, or is there other things that sometimes you're holding your own self back?
I think, yeah, man, imposter syndrome, that is such a rampant thing in the upholstery industry, because like especially here in America, we do not have like formal education for upholstery. Like you have to learn it on your own, or you have to find someone who's going to teach you, or you're like, like you've got family that you've grown up into it. And so as someone who doesn't have that background, like I learned it basically from scratch, and by like opening up books and YouTube videos and finding like a Facebook group and people, who can like teach me and I can learn from and glean from. And so yeah, imposter syndrome is absolutely like, I am that person, like that's who I am. And so yeah, perfectionism, I want to make sure everything gets out, just right, because I am trying to prove something to myself too, that I can still do this.
Mm-hmm.
And especially like with Instagram, you put out a picture, everyone is judging that little, square picture, and you want to make sure that what you're putting out there is good and it looks right, and it, stands up to like the test of what, other upholsterers are going to be okay with. So yeah, it's yeah, I understand imposter syndrome. So
I guess I didn't realize that there's not a formal education like
hmm
guild or unit or something in America. So, do you have any idea why that is?
uh I should know. I don't know. I think I have to remember. So the furniture industry went through like a thing in the 70s, I think, where I could be totally wrong, where like a bunch of like, factories shut down. And so a lot of our furniture was then built out in places like China, and like, it was like we imported everything. And so the need just wasn't here. We didn't have to have the schools because we were importing everything from everywhere else. Like, the UK, they have guilds. They've got a whole bunch of different organizations where you can go. I think it's called the ASMUF. I can't remember what the word or the letters mean, but you can like go to the school, and you've got different levels you can obtain and get, certificates. And we just don't have that here. It's all DIY until you actually become a professional and get paid for it, assuming you're good enough to get paid for it. And yeah, it's a totally different ball of wax between America and the rest of the world.
Interesting. So I almost view that as like in the 70s when wine was starting to rise up in California, and
Hmm.
winemakers were trying to become more taken more seriously by the rest of mainly Europe, mainly France, as serious winemakers, and they were always looked down upon, that they didn't know what they were doing because there was
Yeah.
formal education in America at the time for winemaking. Is that an issue within the upholstery industry that like Europe
Huge.
really kind of snubs their
Oh,
nose?
oh, absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely. And in some ways, rightfully so. Because they do have like they've got the framework, and they've got the the certificates, and the processes, and they're honing their skills under other master upholsterers, and it's such a completely different. It's so different. It's amazing. Because I'll put up a post, and then someone will say something, not mean, but like I can tell that they're like, why don't you use this technique? It's like, because I'm American and we do things differently here. It's yeah, it's a completely oh, a different ball of wax. I think I said that already, a different story, whatever it is. But
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So I can completely understand then how that just feeds the imposter syndrome feeling of everyone
Exactly.
in the US. Oh gosh.
Exactly. Yeah, because there's so many different ways to do upholstery. You've got your traditional with like, horsehair and core, and you've got your modern with like foam, and you know, uh, there's just so many different ways to put together a piece of furniture, a chair, and everyone's got their different standards. And even here in America, even though we don't have any schools, you've got other upholsterers who are still, thumbing their nose at you because you didn't do it their way. But there's so many different ways to reupholster a chair. And as long as it's solid, it looks good, it feels good, the client is happy, then it's a good piece of furniture. It's something that, that belongs in their home. Yeah, there's a whole, I can go on again for like hours and hours
Oh, that's
about like,
fascinating.
yeah, even the strife within the trade. It's amazing.
Okay. Wow. Wow. So so
I'm
it
sorry. I feel like I'm in a therapy session here. I'm just like, ah!
it's okay. That sometimes that's what these turn into. And
Yeah.
that's okay. That's okay. um so yeah, so it kind of sounds like which I didn't realize until you started talking about it, that as an upholsterer you have all of these things that are pushing down on you. So for one, for not only having your own self-doubt because you don't have formal training, you have these experts in other parts of the world that have been passing on lineages of how to do it since the Middle Ages or whenever
Right.
upholstery became a thing.
Right. That first stone was set up against the cave wall. That
Exactly,
was your first
exactly.
chair.
Exactly. And then, but then you also have this misconception from clients and in the US of, upholstery isn't widely used yet, of feeling like you can continuously keep something fresh by working with someone to reupholster it and to work on it for you. And also you have the issue of people buying stuff brand new, or people having the misperception that, oh, this is the cheaper route to go, so
Hmm.
I'm going to work with an upholsterer, but then they also don't understand the time and detail that it takes. Is there
Yeah.
anything else that I'm missing that's like
Oh,
all
I'm
of these
sure there
forces on
is.
you?
Maybe I should get out of this. I should go do something else
No,
after
no.
all. Yeah, it's amazing because like people keep saying that upholstery is a dying trade, but it's not a dying trade. We've been around for since literally the first person took a stone, put it up against that cave wall, and like laid a reed mat on it. That was like your first bit of upholstery right there. To make something comfortable. So we're not going anywhere. But yeah, it's a niche industry, and you have niche clients. So it's just yeah, it's an interesting road or path, that you have to forge and take at the same time, because it's already kind of been laid out for you, but it forks out in all these different ways. So yeah,
Wow.
different
Um,
signage everywhere telling you to do this and that. And it's an interesting, yeah, it's an interesting trade, but I love it. What am I doing?
yeah, yeah. I love it too. I love just appreciate the artistry that's involved with it and the craftsmanship of it. Partially because I've sat and just watched my mom do it, and taking each of those tacks and
Yes.
going all the way around her wingback chairs.
Yes. Ah.
So for someone, at least for you, you kind of found it through the work that you were doing already. I mean, what is obviously there's no typical path, but for people who are realizing that this might be a route that they're passionate about, I mean, how do you even get into this industry?
Yeah, I get DMs all the time from people who want to learn, and I always say maybe try to call around and see if there's a shop that's willing to take you under their wing. But there's a caveat that that shop has to be able to spend time with you and put their workload on the back burner in order to help you with that goal. And a lot of shops just can't do it. Like I can't do it. I'm the only person here. I would love to bring everyone in and just let them sit there and watch me, but then I wouldn't be able to get any work done. I wouldn't be able to pay my bills. And so it's that that balance, which I just can't do it. But I always tell people to go to YouTube, check out places like the Funky Little Chair online or Kim's Upholstery online. There are groups that you can join where you can learn more about upholstery, and also just crack open a book. Go to the library, go to Amazon, get something ordered in and crack open a book, go to your local antique store, purchase a little chair. Don't purchase a wingback. That's a really huge that's a little too much for a first time. But purchase a chair, some cheap fabric, and just, see what you like. Most people, when they tear something down, they're like, oh, this is horrible. Because it smells, it's dirty, it's gross, it hurts your hands, you're gonna end up bleeding, you're gonna breathe things in, you're gonna get things into your eyes, and most people, that's where they stop. It's not all about just putting pretty, fabric on a chair. You have to do the actual hard legwork of getting that frame to that place where you can actually put that pretty fabric on.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I mean especially some of the chairs that have the old springs on them too.
Yes.
You have to completely rip. Sometimes you have to rip that all out and redo that, which
all the ties. You have to take all the ties off the springs and
It's incredible work. I have a huge amount of respect for people who upholster.
We're a crazy lot, I think.
So, and you brought this up very briefly, but I think it's a good thing for people to hear how everybody tackles this. But you talked about the balance of, you can't, as much as you want to help people to get into the industry, you can't help everybody. It seems like, so your shop at your house?
Yes. I work out of my home. I do not want a storefront. I think it's amazing for people who do, if that's their thing, that's awesome. I want my commute to be past my kitchen and my dogs. That's it.
So how have you worked in that balance for the last decade then of, did you try out a bunch of different ways, or was it just this works for you really well, or what did that look like?
Working at home, as far as how does that work? Yeah, it just works.
Just balancing that your work is always next to you.
So I'm a loner. I always have been. I've always been I want to hang out with me, maybe a few other people, and that's it. I'm not a big, huge social butterfly. And so working at home for me is fine. This quarantine, not a big deal. I already work from home and I don't need to go out and see a whole bunch of people. That's kind of just the way I live my life as an introvert. So, working at home works really well for me. It can get difficult when your work is always there, but I'm trying to get better at just closing the door and trying not to open it up on the weekends, which I'm failing at currently, because I want to get stuff done. But yeah, it took a long time to figure out, what that balance is. Your husband, he's able to play video games in the morning. I tried that when I first started, no good. I was playing Sims until 2 p.m. in the afternoon. It does not work for me. But yeah, it's all about trial and error, I think. And I've had, people here working with me, assistants every once in a while, tear things down, and that's worked out well. I think I still prefer just to work by myself because I can listen to my own music as loudly as I want to. And that's so important to me, to be able to just do what I want. And also because I do work from home, I don't have to put on a bra every day. It's but if I have people coming in or assistants or people who are working with me, I have to change the way my own behavior. And I prefer just not to do that.
Oh, I get that.
Yeah.
I get that too. As someone who has worked from home for a while, I personally love just being able to do what I want.
Yeah. It's probably too much TMI. I'm sorry, everyone, but yeah, it's just, who likes these things?
I highly doubt that there's anyone that fully enjoys it. It's more of it's just an active, sometimes necessity.
Yes.
It's certainly not comfort.
Today, makeup and bra. So.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes I curse myself for coming up with this idea for interviewing, because it's I didn't think through the fact that I would need to be camera ready. So at the same, I love talking to people, but I was like, oh shoot, I have to do hair and makeup today. Okay.
See, I didn't even do the hair though. I'm still quarantining, so my hair is just up and hidden.
I
So.
think it looks fabulous.
Thank you.
No, I actually had to wash my hair and stuff too. Cool. Well, thank you so much for your time. This has been lovely to talk to you.
Oh, thank you. Oh, it's been great.
Yeah. I could talk very nerdy about mid-century furniture anytime.
Yeah. Cool.